You might need a life coach. It won't be me because I'm not a life coach, but Jay is. And he's been coaching me for the last 5 years. And he's been a life coach for the last, I don't know, like 25 years, 100 million years. So I have some questions about what life coaching is, why people think it's so easy, like it's their go-to thing for when they quit their job. And I just want to know what the heck is up. So today I'm going to talk to Jay, who is the master at this and who's done this for so long. So Jay, can you please explain to us what exactly life coaching is?
Sure. I just look at it as picking up where parents leave off, or reparenting, or an extension of parenting. So if you look at what parents do for kids, besides, feeding them and clothing them, what are they doing?
I mean, they're trying to teach them how to adult.
Yeah. Are they teaching them a single topic?
No, they're not.
So do they teach kids about relationships?
Yes.
Do they teach kids about navigating the physical world?
Yes.
Do they teach kids about health and diet and exercise?
Yes.
Do they teach kids about getting a job and making money and being part of the economy?
Yes.
So don't parents sound an awful lot like a life coach, a coach of life?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay. So to me, a life coach is like a professional parent, right? A master parent, a parent for adults,
right?
Someone who is an expert at elevating another human being, teaching them how to go through life.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we had a client once tell us that you were reparenting her the right way.
Yeah. She said I was reparenting her the right way.
Yeah, and it makes total sense. You're really good at life. Like, you really understand these things that most people do not understand.
Yeah, and it's not just understanding, it's the ability to teach it to someone else. So there are a lot of people out in the world who understand life fairly well, and you can tell because they're succeeding and they're doing well and they seem to get what they want,
Right.
They've accomplished a lot, they're a celebrity, but then when it comes time to teach, they're shit. Like, they couldn't teach anyone.
No.
They can't even teach their own children.
True. Very, very true.
But they clearly understand something about life.
Yeah.
Right. So the two parts of the effective life coach is a deep understanding, but then the ability to instill that understanding in someone else. Because it doesn't help if I have the understanding and no one else does. It's not helpful.
Yeah.
The important part is that the other person gets the understanding.
Well, yeah. So you have to be a good teacher to do that.
Right.
And most parents are not great teachers.
Well, most parents don't understand life to start with. And what little they do understand of life, they're generally not great at teaching.
That's true.
So kids are screwed. Like, you can't expect a parent, on top of all the other parts of life, feeding and clothing and having a job and doing all the things and dealing with all of the kids and the chaos and so on, to effectively coach that child to navigate life, especially when they're doing it for free for 30 years.
Yeah. And I can see why so many parents fail, because they haven't mastered their own life and they just pass on their own neuroses and issues onto the children. And then this is how we get generational curses.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm not trying to hate on parents. My parents are amazing. I deeply cherish what other parents have done. All the people I interact with were raised by parents, and I'm happy to interact with them. So
no, I think it's great. And I know parents do their best, but as a parent myself, I don't think I ever considered like that I was trying to teach them how to master life. Even recently, as yesterday, my youngest was here with me and he didn't like something I asked him to do. And I said, it's my job to teach you how to become a functioning, happy adult.
Yeah,
and that means you have to do some things that aren't, going to be your favorite all the time.
Yeah, that means you're his life coach.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, you are 100% spot on. You are like, that makes so much sense to me. Okay. So now we know what life coaching is.
Yeah. Professional reparenting.
Yes. So it's professional reparenting. I really like that. The professional reparenting. We fix what your parents effed up.
Yeah. Or just professional parenting, period. Professional parenting, period.
Yeah. And you have definitely, I don't know about other life coaches, because The other ones that I've worked with have been clients and they weren't my life coach, but you, sir, are amazing at what you do. You definitely have reparented me. My parents, I love them dearly, but they effed me up big time with a lot of stuff that they gave to me. And you had to reparent me. And we've joked around like when I met, I was a newborn, and then I have now like a teenager in personal development years wise, whatever, because you've basically started with a blob of a newborn who knew nothing about life, but was 40 years old. So
yeah, it's actually worse. I much prefer working with a blank slate like a child because they're open-minded and they don't have any preconceived notions or limiting beliefs, and they're ready to take in whatever I'm going to teach. Reparenting an adult who has a million limiting beliefs and tons of trauma and tons of baggage is like a nightmare. It's way, way harder than teaching a child a blank slate.
Right. Well, it makes sense because you're the blank slate, the blank canvas, it's ready for paint.
Yeah.
It's ready for primer, paint, whatever.
And the other one, I have to clean off the canvas for like 2 years first.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So now I understand what it is because I didn't before. Even though I've been coached for 5 years, I never considered it reparenting. And that is actually really spot on. Like I said, you were super helpful with that, with my stuff from my parents. So then why does the internet seem to think that this is like an easy way to make money?
Well, the internet is just average people. The mass.
Yeah.
And so the internet generally has the opinion of the general public. That's what you're going to see on the internet. Unless you go in some niche areas where all the trolls are, then you'll get very extreme views that aren't like the general public. But But assuming we're talking about the general public, why do they think life coaching is an easy way to make money? Is the same reason they think anything is an easy way to make money. If they can slap a label on themselves and feel good about themselves and feel like they have a good career or a good job, that's as far as it goes for them. People think being a drop shipper is easy money, or running a Shopify store is easy money. Like e-commerce or digital commerce is easy money.
Right.
They think being a streamer is easy money. They think being a YouTuber is easy money. Anything that you can slap a label on and start up an account, to them is easy money because they see the label and they see the free sign up and you post some stuff and you're done. Like you sign up for a Twitch account, you pick a Twitch name, you stream a couple things, now you're a streamer. You create a YouTube account, pick a YouTube name, post a few YouTube videos, and now you're a YouTuber. You start an OnlyFans account, pick a name, show off your boobs, and now you're a cam model.
Right.
And so to them, anything that you can pick a title and instantly publish some content is easy money.
Right.
If it's not construction and hard labor or working on an oil rig or neurosurgery or something, then it must be easy.
Right.
If you can claim the title, if you can say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, then entrepreneurship must be easy. This is how people think.
Yeah.
They think if there's a low barrier to entry and you can go and claim a label and get started fast, then your job is easy and you get easy money. But they think if you have to go for years of schooling or do very physical things, then it's hard money. It's like a very weird understanding of life or careers or jobs or anything. But this is essentially how people approach it.
Right. Well,
you could call yourself a life coach right now and have a call with a client and start helping them. Just like any parent can start helping any child.
True.
It doesn't mean your job is easy. It doesn't mean you're going to do a good job. It doesn't mean that kid is going to thrive. It doesn't mean you're a genius or a master at your profession, but you could pick it up right now for very little investment and call yourself one. And so people would say, oh, must be nice. You have an easy job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people just assume that like they have that weird toxic trait of anything they see on the internet, they think they can do.
Sure.
Like I think they can do easily. So can you tell us what's the hardest? Because people think it's easy because you don't have to have any money to start. You throw you throw the label of life coach on yourself, and then you start reaching out to people and tell them how you can change your life or their life or whatever. Right. But from someone, you have been doing this for a really long time. You've coached like super rich people, super poor people, and everywhere in between. Right. So for you, what has been the hardest part of life coaching?
That's a good question.
Thanks.
To me, it's kind of a tie. I can't tell what's harder, going through hell to learn life lessons, because any good life coach will have gone through hell, right, and learned life lessons that they can pass on. Or when you finally go to teach the life lessons, you have to deal with everybody's baggage and limiting beliefs. Like, they're basically uncooperative. Even when they pay you and sign up and come to the meetings, they're still uncooperative.
Yes.
Like, all you want is a cooperative student, and at any given time, even your best friend or your best client or your best student could suddenly be uncooperative. It happened to me last year. Someone I'd been coaching for like a decade, who took every bit of wisdom I gave, suddenly became uncooperative.
Right.
I had to cut him loose.
Well, this is exactly why I don't enjoy life coaching either, is because for the exact same thing. To me, if I sign up and I pay to get advice from somebody, and then you resist and resist and resist and resist, this is like, why am I wasting my time? Sure. Even if you pay me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying, those are the two hardest parts. I had to get robbed and evicted and homeless for 3 years, and walk away from celebrity clients, and like get betrayed and abandoned and isolated and be the black sheep of the family and lose family members and have people hate me and all kinds of stuff as part of being a life coach. Like, that's the trial by fire you got to go through. Like, you've got to go through something. You got to go through divorces. You got to go through miscarriages. You got to go through job losses, like walk away from your dream career, something, and probably many things if you're going to pass on wisdom to others.
Agreed.
It's really difficult to be a great life coach if you haven't gone through the trial by fire. If you show me some spoiled person who's gone through nothing, they're probably not going to be a good life coach.
Right. This is why the 18, 19, 25-year-old life coaches have a hard time, because the clients don't believe that. I mean, some of them, of course, have gone through like some major things, but on the majority, on the whole, if you're 23, how have you mastered life where you can teach me at 40?
Right. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but that means that the 23-year-old life coach is going to have to go through hell until he's 40 before he's allowed to make real money.
Right.
Before he's going to be able to crush it as a life coach. Like, what? That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, people think, 5 or 10 years of medical school is hard. Try 20 years of hell on earth, trial by fire life to become a life coach. Like, technically you can coach all along the way. But when you sign up to become a life coach, you are basically signing up for a very hard life for a good chunk of time. And maybe you can find someone who's not like that, but I haven't seen it. And so that is a very hard part of being a life coach. But I'm not sure, it might actually be worse to deal with other people's resistance, other people's lack of cooperation, your own clients and your own students who you're trying desperately to help, and they go self-sabotage and they don't apply your advice and they go do something else. And then you got to cut them loose and find a new client. And even people you've cared about and invested in for years. And it's like, they're going to be stubborn and they're not going to let you parent anymore. They're not going to let you, of course, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion, but if they start disrespecting the coaching, then you have to let them go. And to me, both of these things are insanely hard parts of life coaching that nobody talks about.
Right. Agreed. No, I've never heard anyone in my research. They were talking about things that were hard, like finding clients, keeping clients, giving them homework and these kinds of things. And I was like, dude, that's easy. All that stuff is so easy. The hardest part is when someone, to me, I guess it's torn between it. It's 50-50, I guess, for me too. Like, I went through massive heroin addiction and for life pooping all over me for many, many years, and lots of pain and anxiety and physical pain, emotional pain, to get to the other side with your help. That was really painful. And I don't think that was really worth then to become a life coach and then to find clients who just resist and resist and resist and continue to pay you, but don't do the thing.
Yeah, that's why I think you're better suited as a promoter or a marketer, or
right.
someone who just gossips about products and introduces the world to me, or whatever you want to do.
Right. Well, this is much easier for me. It's much better. I'm happy to share what I've learned along the way with our clients, and having my own clients that are open to learning. Well, as long as they're open to learning the very beginnings from me, and then move on to you, because this is not something that I want long term with anyone. So
sure, life coaching isn't for everybody.
No. And I'm naturally a teacher, but it goes so much deeper than just teaching. Like, in a classroom, this is how I taught, was in a classroom and, teaching Spanish or teaching reading or whatever I was teaching. They learn or they don't, and they take the test or they don't. And it doesn't really affect me. But when you're coaching somebody, you're like really getting to know them and you're bonding with them and connecting with them on a level that the only other professional I can think of that does a similar is therapists.
Yeah, we're kind of like a parent.
Yeah. Well, I meant profession wise, but yeah.
Well, professional parenting.
Yes, professional parenting for sure. And so therapists have that same bonding and connecting thing. But I think, and I could be wrong, I'm not a therapist and I've never done one or played one on TV, but I feel like for the therapist, it's one-sided. The patient is connecting because they're sharing all these things and being open, and the therapist is just listening, right? And they're not giving anything back. But when you coach, when you're coaching someone, you're giving them your experience and telling them how you fixed it and how you helped yourself. And so they're sharing all these deep things with you. And so it's more of a connection, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh no, and I was going to ask, so for you, has that ever gotten in your way when you were trying to coach somebody because it got personal for you?
So when you watch someone perform well at a task, are they personal about it or impersonal about it?
I mean, probably impersonal.
Really? So when Michael Jordan loses a game, he's very impersonal.
Oh,
after that.
No, he's emotional and he gives his all to what he does.
Sure. And when Steve Jobs wants to create a new device and the team's not behaving, he's very impersonal about it.
No, he's super personal. He gets emotional and yells at them.
Okay. And when Beyonce's completing an album and one of her backup dancers is not behaving, or her father is not managing the way she would like, she's just very impersonal about it.
No, she's super personal and gets emotional and
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want a high performer in anything, even something cold and logical like chess, when a chess master loses, you think they're impersonal about the failure?
No, they may not show their emotions.
They may not show it,
but they are not happy about it. Yeah.
And they damn sure take it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So to me, if you want to teach well, what is absolutely necessary?
For you to get personal?
Damn right.
All right. Well,
for me, it is. I want to be a great teacher. I aim to be a great life coach. I want to excel at my craft. I want to blow everyone's minds. I want to be the best of the best. So I would gladly compete with anyone on teaching. We each get a similar student with a similar topic, and whoever teaches fastest and best and most permanently, and the student applies it the best, wins. Like I would do a life coaching competition.
I'm so confident in your skills as a life coach. I would put you up against Tony Robbins.
Sure.
And I know you would win.
Absolutely.
And that's a big claim. That's saying a lot.
Bring it. If you want to go, let's go.
And I love that. Because I've been following Tony Robbins for many years since I first got clean from drugs 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he's the reason why I have been clean this long, because in the beginning, when I wanted to use, I found his book in a used bookstore and it helped save me.
I love Tony Robbins.
And he's an incredible person, and he's really good at what he does. However, I still think you're better. And I would take that Pepsi challenge any day. Mm-hmm. Any day. So what do you think about all these huge, like the life coaches like Tony Robbins or Brennan Burchard or Evan Carmichael or Mel Robbins, all these people who are out here professing to have mastered life and that they're gurus, they're life coaches, but they haven't exactly mastered life in all.
Well, no one ever masters life, but to me, they're the best that's out there. Like, they have made themselves visible and they have marketed themselves well, and they give reasonable advice. Like, for the most part,
they're the best, or they're just the best at marketing?
No, they're just the best at marketing.
Oh, okay.
Not one of them dedicated their life to understanding the nature of the universe and how to practically navigate life. And not one of them dedicated their life to teaching that to others. They're in different arenas. They're doing different things. They dedicated their life to winning at YouTube or winning at business or something. And so that's fine. I love it when people succeed in those areas. And when they succeed that well, they gain a lot of visibility and popularity and fame, and people come to them for advice. And they still have decent advice, so they can advise some people, and that's great. But to call them top tier, masterful, epic, next level life coaches is insane. Why would I call someone who went and succeeded at one area and then marketed themselves well and became popular and now is turned to for advice an elite life coach? Like that was never the arena they got into. It was never what they wanted to do with their life. What are you talking about? They weren't natural born teachers. They don't have that gift or skill in them. And you can tell because every time they try to teach their audience, like a tiny percent learns.
Yeah.
A good life coach wants like a 90% success rate. You want a 100% success rate, a 99% success rate. I want all my students to learn. I don't want like 1% of them to learn.
Well, I have followed all those people we just talked about, and I've gotten advice from each one of them.
Sure.
Tony Robbins helped me save my life so that I didn't pick up and use that day.
So he's probably the best.
However, his resources that I had, that I still have actually, they did not change my life. Sorry, but they didn't. I'm a huge fan of Tony. I love him, but they did not change my life. Yes, he kept me clean, but no, he did not change my life. Mel Robbins gives some advice. I don't know, whatever. There are people out there that love her. I found her because of her 5-second rule. I like the idea of taking control and taking a moment, counting the 5 seconds and doing something else.
Yeah, it's great.
This was more helpful, but she kind of has gotten away from that, and she's trying to teach a whole bunch of other stuff now that have not been useful for me personally. I would love to meet somebody who has actually changed their life with these coaches. And then I was a member of Believe Nation with Evan. His content didn't change my life. His content and the things he was coaching in his content didn't change my life. What changed my life was meeting you, was the one video that he put you forward, and I found out who you were. You are the reason that I changed my life. And it wasn't because I fell in love with you. It's because you were reparenting me. The things you said made sense. Your content made sense. The words you were saying made sense. If you go back and look at any of our podcast episodes, the things you teach make sense. And so the things that you teach just make more sense than the stuff that's out there. And sometimes you'll find gurus who are teaching similar things to what you're saying, and that's great and wonderful, but they don't have that passion and that teaching like you do. And this isn't like a giant ad or anything. The whole point of this episode is because we're on Twitter, and I'm seeing all these coaches, right? And I'm like, they're teaching like such a small part of life coaching. And then they'll talk about another part of their life that's completely effed up and wrong, and they haven't fixed or worked on, and they don't believe that will have effect on the business coaching that they're selling. And so they don't understand that it's a web. So I was inspired by them to do this episode, right? And so you're the best out there. It's just our marketing hasn't been great for the world to find you like Tony Robbins or Mel Robbins or Evan or whatever. And I think you're incredible at what you do. So,
thank you.
So is there something that you learn in the beginning, or that when you work with someone, that you know right away, this person, they're not it. They're not going to get it. I can coach them and help them with some stuff, but I just know that it's not going to work out long term.
Okay. So kind of like the same way Michael Jordan probably feels like he can beat any team and he can win any game.
Right.
Even though he has failed and missed 9,000 shots and missed 26 game-winning shots and yada, yada, yada. He still has that cocky, confident, I'm the best attitude inside, which is I can beat anyone. I can win. I will win. So I have that attitude as well for life coaching. That's why I've had so many less than ideal students and stuck with them and done my best to help them, because it's like this delusional feeling that I am the best at this and I can coach anyone and I can elevate anyone and I can uplift anyone and I can transform anyone into the best version of themselves. or help them transform themselves into the best version of themselves. And so that belief has the upside of eventually making you great. It makes you great at whatever you're doing. It's a very good belief to have. If you believe truly and sincerely that you're the best at this and you can outperform anyone in something, that's pretty epic. That's the belief of a winner.
For sure.
And it's going to take you very far. It's very helpful. But the downside of this belief is everything hurts, everything stings, and you hang on to things too long, and you push yourself too far, and you try to grind out one more game, or like get back to the gym for one more hour or something. And it's like kind of intense. And that caused me to do my best to coach people that probably should have been written off.
Right.
If you've ever seen someone losing a game for a long time and it's obviously over, and you see them keep trying, and they're like so focused, and they're like, I'm going to win it. And you're like, dude, you're just hurting yourself. Let the game go. It's okay. You can try again next time.
Right.
This is the downside of believing that you're the best and believing that you can tackle any challenge.
So it must be hard for you to let someone go when you know that you can
Yes, I hate it.
Still do something for them.
Yeah, I hate letting anyone go. Like, I want to win and rise together. Together we rise is my motto. And I know that I got this. I understand this. I can help. Like, if you just cooperate, we're going to rise. The same way Jordan probably feels with all of his teammates. If you just follow my lead, if you just trust me, we're going to win this game. I know we can win. If I say go to the gym, go to the gym. If I say pass the ball to me, pass the ball to me. Like, I know he believes in himself and his wisdom, and he wants his team to win, and he's going to do what's best to help them win.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they don't cooperate or they make it hard, I don't think he just gives up. I think he keeps trying.
He does.
Right.
He finds other ways to keep going. Yeah.
Right. Until he's absolutely backed into a corner and he's like, I can't. I got to trade teams, or I got to take a break, or I got to let them do their thing and I'm just stop trying or whatever. Like, eventually you have to let go of any game, of any challenge. If you can't do it, if you try for years, like he missed some game winning shots. He just has to own it.
Right.
So if I fail with some student, I just have to own it. But,
yeah. I've seen you do it. Yeah.
Sure. But the thing is, you have to watch that you don't hang on to a student too long because of this super confident belief that you can win with anybody.
Right.
So it's a good belief, but it has a pretty dark side. And it will often make you hang on to a student or work with a student that you shouldn't be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even just yesterday, I had a moment of that. Like, I gave my student a choice and I didn't tell them anything. I just said, do whatever's in your heart, and I trust you and I believe in you and it's going to work out. And then I just sat back and waited. And if she chose one way, I was going to have to separate and end our coaching relationship. If she chose another way, then we can keep working together. But in the past, the old me wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even give those tests or those choices. I wouldn't watch for those signs. And I would just hang on forever. Like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not really about, is there something I look for in a student because I'm confident or arrogant that I can help anyone. I don't care. I'm that good. I am that good. I do not care what baggage you have. I don't care if you're a heroin addict. I don't care if you hate the world. I don't care if you have been imprisoned or a convict. I don't care if you've been homeless. I don't care if you've been a prostitute. I don't care if you're an OnlyFans model. I don't care if you have diseases. Like, I can help. I can help anyone rise up, and their current condition doesn't matter to me. It's why I work with you. You've told me yourself you were like the worst human around, or some toxic, super terrible person, or whatever, with tons of baggage.
Yes, I was a horrible person. I was the worst student ever. If God said the worst, least coachable human ever in the world, please step forward, and it would have been me.
Right. So you were, stubborn and uncoachable.
Yes.
And I stepped up to the uncoachable person. And what did I do?
Crushed it.
Yeah, I coached you over 5 years.
Yes.
I invested my heart and soul because I didn't want to lose. Like, I want to win this game.
Yes.
I want to perform and be the best. And so bring me the hardest students. But I don't really enjoy it. Like, I don't want to sign up for the hardest game of my life every day.
Yes.
That's something that should happen once in a while.
Well, we've talked about that as like going forward with other students and other clients in our life, that even though I was like the worst of the worst, I'm sorry that I'm going to be hypocritical, and I don't want that in my life.
Sure.
I know that I want coachable people who are going to apply the things they learn. And if you're not like that, I'm sorry, you are not a fit for us, because I can't watch the man that I love struggle like that ever again. I saw the struggle with me, and I know going forward, and you can call me a hypocrite all you want, and I will admit, yes, I am, because I can't watch you do that again, ever.
Sure. You don't want to see me like invest another 5 years of my life teaching some uncoachable person just to prove I can.
Yes.
But I did do that, and
Yes.
I did prove I can.
Yes.
And I haven't lost that attitude. And so even though I wrote an article on how to be a good student, I had like seven traits of a good student,
Right.
and they were pretty interesting and unique. I've never seen anyone else talk about them. But even though I know what signs to look for, I still don't really care. Like, I'm going to try and find as many of those traits as I can. I'm going to try and find a student who has those, one who applies things, one who practices, one who listens, one who's open-minded, one with minimal baggage, one who's more of a blank slate, these kind of things. But if they don't have them all, like, it's like if Jordan played on a professional court, maybe it's nice, he likes it, there's no bumps in the road or asphalt or something. But if he went and played street ball, I don't think he'd care. I think he'd be like, I'll work around it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This is my attitude. My attitude towards life coaching is the same attitude Jordan has towards basketball.
I love that. And actually, for anybody who's like going, what does this have to do with mental health? This actually has a lot to do with it, because if you don't have this attitude that Jay has about your business, like you got this and you can do this and you can sell or whatever it is, your job or your relationship or your own mental health, about healing yourself and feeling good or whatever it is, if you don't have that same attitude that Jay has, dude, you're going to struggle. You're not going to be successful. And I know, because I've not had that belief in myself for other things, and I failed miserably.
Yeah, and you talked a big game. Like, I'm going to be the world's best marketer. I'm going to be persuading everybody. I'm going to sell this product. And
all right.
And it's like, it's one thing to say it. It's another to own it and believe it and embody it. It's another thing to step up to the challenge and blow everyone's minds. Like, I don't just say I can coach the uncoachable. I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. And 5 years of my life, I invested to do that.
It's true.
It's way different than saying, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. But that's the attitude most people have, is I can do that. Yeah, sure, you can. But do you have the deep, like, desire and knowledge, embodiment that you can do that you're capable? Like, we don't, as humans, we don't know what we're capable of. We kind of have an idea. And if we stick to that idea of what we're capable of, then we never go past that. But like, you have this brilliant, beautiful belief in other people and yourself about what you're capable of and what's possible, which is pretty much unlimited.
Yeah. Everyone's valuable. Everyone can accomplish whatever they want. And I can help. I helped Evan while I was homeless. I coached tons of people while I was homeless effectively. Yeah. I transformed their lives. So,
well, you're life changing, and I think a lot of people that get into coaching, they love the feeling of being coached. Somehow they came across the idea of coaching, usually because they were coached by someone else. Otherwise, why else would they even have the idea?
Well, every celebrity you look up to has a coach.
Right. A lot of people will think, oh, this is easy. I can do it. If so-and-so can do it, or Mel Robbins can do it, then so can I. But the thing is there's so much more nuance to it. And so a lot of people, they think because it looks easy and because it's just giving advice in quotes, but therapists go to school for years to learn the textbook ways to help people, even though most of it doesn't work, but they learn it. And you had to spend years miserable and arrogant and unhappy and homeless to learn how to help people with all kinds of life. Because even though we talk about business and mental health, anxiety, these things, the things you can teach and help with are ridiculously, like, the amount it's infinite. It's just
relationships, physical health. I can teach so much.
Yeah. Sure. You really can.
Yeah.
So do you think that everyone needs a life coach? Like 9-to-5 jobbers who are just have zero desire for entrepreneurship?
Let me ask you, does everyone need a parent?
Yes.
Even orphans?
Yes. All right. Well, fair. But we did establish that it's just being reparented.
Sure. And if you meet a lot of adults, do you think to yourself, oh, they don't need a parent anymore? Or do you look at them and think, man, dude,
So the opposite.
Right.
Man, your parents didn't teach you jack.
Right.
And
Life coaches are just modern day shamans, like the village shaman from old time cultures or whatever. The
right.
whole village needed the shaman. It wasn't like, oh, it's just for some people. It was like, no, no, no. The entire village needs the shaman. The shaman was revered.
Yeah, fair
Well,
play.
in modern times, we don't have shamans anymore, but nature and life didn't just ditch them. Like the need for the shaman isn't just gone. We just evolved. Now it's life
Right.
coaches.
Well, the closest thing would be like Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
You
Life
know,
coaches.
and he put out a Netflix documentary called I Am Not Your Guru, because he got so tired of people saying that he was their guru.
Sure. Well, he's right. Like a guru is what people say when they don't trust themselves, right? They put someone on a pedestal and they go to them and they're like kids who run to mom for every single thing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, everything. Mom, I have a cut. Mom, I lost my toy. Mom, I can't find my blanket. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm thirsty. And it's like, at some point, the mom is just like, I am not your go-to. Like,
Yeah.
you need to learn to do stuff on your own. And so that's his video. I didn't see it, but I imagine that's the vibe. That's the point he's trying to make is y'all are smart and powerful and y'all need to solve some of your own problems. And I've been teaching you not so you would come running to me every 2 seconds and depend on me, but so that you would learn to stand on your own. And so I assume his video, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, is meant to send a message that you guys can all succeed with or without me. And you don't always need to run to me.
Yeah, that actually is the vibe. Even though he goes deep in the video during his UPW, he goes deep with these people. But the vibe is, I'm teaching you this so you can do it on your own. And it's the same thing with you.
Same.
One of the things that I've been practicing and working on is not coming to you with drama or BS or trivial things, because it's unnecessary for me now. It's taken 5 years for me to get there, because I used to come to you with everything. And now when I have something, sometimes it's just, I just want to share this with you or express myself, but I don't need any solutions. And so for me, this is a lot. This has been a wonderful way to practice. And I'm really proud of myself, because then I don't need my hand held for everything. You've taught me how to tie my shoes. Now I'm tying them all by myself, basically.
Yeah,
Kind
good.
of thing.
Great.
Well, I think this is a wonderful topic, and I think that a lot of people misunderstand what life coaching is, and now we get it. We know it's being reparented. We know that it's learning life from someone who has almost mastered life, because you said earlier no one's mastered life, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I certainly haven't.
Yes.
I'm failing all the time, making mistakes all the time.
Now, you've had issues with people putting you up on a pedestal, and it's a concern that I have about a current client right now as well with you.
Sure.
And so how do you handle that? Because it's happened to me even when I've coached other clients of ours. So how do you recognize this, and how do you handle it when it happens?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one, I do my best to emphasize that any improvements they make are on them. Like, I'm proud of you. You made the improvements. You did this.
Yes.
I play a small part or help, but this is you. And it wouldn't have happened if you didn't apply it and practice it. So I do my best to send the message that I'm not the major source of this magic. I'm a helper. You are the major source of the magic in your life. Two, I continually repeat the message. I don't want you to put me on a pedestal. Please see us both as humans on a journey, and there's no difference between us. You don't have to see me as better or other or outside. I just have different gifts and different experiences that I can share. And three, if they end up putting me on a pedestal, I got to knock them off. It's not fun. It's not pleasant. I hate doing it, but I will do it.
How do you do that?
Depends. Like, once I had a girlfriend who put me on a pedestal, I had to break up with her. It knocked me off the pedestal though.
Yeah.
Another time I had a client who kept coming to me for everything. I had to snap at him. Yo, what the hell? You're wasting my time with this shit? You can handle this. You've learned all these lessons. What is this? You gonna come running to mom every time, or you gonna handle this stuff? Wasn't pleasant, wasn't fun, but I'll do it. I have no problem knocking myself off the pedestal if no one else is gonna do it.
You told me, I'm not here to handhold you. I'm not here to fix all these little ridiculous BS problems.
Yeah.
You know how to handle this.
Yeah.
I trust you and believe in you.
Like a good parent.
Yeah. And at the time I was really hurt, like it hurt my feelings. And I was like, then I was confused, like, what should I, like, what do I do? But I learned that it wasn't because you were mean or you didn't love me or things changed. It was because how would I feel as a parent? Like my kids are adults pretty much. And if they're coming to me because my son's mad because his sister pulled his hair, I couldn't even answer that. I would have to walk away and roll my eyes at them because you're old enough and you know how to handle stuff. And it's the same thing. And if I expect my almost grown children to behave like adults, then why wouldn't I be able to behave like an adult and not run to you with every little thing?
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people see a life coach depending on your niche and what you teach, because for the most part life coaches each of them have some sort of niche. You should have a niche, you know, unless you're you and you can teach everything.
No,
But
even
even
I have
you
that.
have a niche.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I focus on mindset and wealth, mental health and wealth. But
Yes.
even though I have insane amounts of experience with relationships and masculine, feminine polarity and sexuality and all these kind of things, it's a passion of mine. And even though I've never had a cold for 20 years, maybe like one here or there when I overwork or push myself, and my health is just always good. I somehow get fit without even trying. Like weird things happen, and I've helped people heal diseases and heal injuries and stuff. And despite having all of these skills and abilities, I still focus on a niche because the niche of I can help you with everything will never sell. It will never resonate with anyone.
It won't.
So
It won't. But everyone finds out. So anyone who is smart enough to get coached by you on one thing will find out super easily without you even pushing your agenda. It's just conversation and things come up. And when it happened for us, I was like, wow, this dude really knows everything.
yeah, it happened again recently.
Yeah, it did with your current client. It happened with her, and she was like, wow, you're helping me with relationships and connection and this and that, because that's just how it is when you work with you. But I don't want anyone else thinking out there that that's how most life coaches are, because usually the life coaches out there, they will fix one thing in their life and think that they can coach everyone forevermore on that and everyone will be successful. But I find that a lot of these life coaches, they are missing something when they speak, and that's, this is what worked for me, right? And so they'll say, this is how you do it, and this is what worked, and this, but they never ever say, this is what worked for me. It could work for you. It might work for you. You know, and so I'm careful when I share our stuff, that especially my own things I've written in my own voice, to make sure that people understand that, this helped me. This is what I did. That doesn't mean it will help you or work for you. It could, it might, but yeah. And so you're amazing. I feel like this is like one long ad, but it's not meant to be. I swear to God, it's not. Like, you are really good at what you do, and we have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of people who are saying the exact same thing as me. So
yeah. To me, good life coaching is where you teach not what worked for me, but where you teach what works for everyone.
But that's the thing.
I mean, it is the thing. I know they don't, but a parent who teaches a child what works for them is not really much of a parent. The parent should be teaching what works in life. Right?
Yeah.
The parent should be teaching that if you put one foot in front of the other, you will get across the room.
Well, right. But
this works for everyone. Now, stay with me. So when I teach and life coach people, I aim to teach things that are universally applicable. I like to teach first principles. I like to teach things that work for everyone. So, for example, if your relationship is not balanced and it doesn't have a healthy balance of masculine and feminine polarity, there will be a lot of negative effects that will come out in lots of different ways. But if anyone adjusts the balance of masculine and feminine polarity in their relationships, they can improve them and heal them. That is a universal principle. I don't need to say what worked for me. This applies to all masculine and feminine polarities across all of the world, in all relationships of all kinds. If you are an employee, you have an employer, and your boss wants you to be more focused and directed, and you have been distracted and going with the flow, you're relationship has too much of a feminine polarity for the boss. They want you to be more masculine and focused and directed. You can do that or not. It's up to you. But until this is adjusted, that relationship's going to suffer. And if you do adjust the balance, it will improve. This applies to everyone. I teach stuff like the recipe for profitable business. The recipe for business has never changed since caveman times. If you exchange value with another human being and they perceive that value, they will feel like reciprocating. And if you do that often enough, you will get reciprocation. You might not get it from the first human being or the first touch point, but the principle of exchanging perceived human value will always result in reciprocation eventually. And everyone from caveman times till now has done this. Every business does this. So when I teach it, I'm not teaching what worked for me. I'm teaching what works for the universe, for civilization, for humanity. It even works on animals. So this is a big difference between what I teach and my understanding of the world. And this is a big reason why you said everything you say makes sense, Jay. Everything you say makes sense. Everything I say makes sense because I'm often teaching first principles and universal laws that have always made sense since the dawn of time and will always make sense. And anytime I'm not teaching those things, I will clarify and say, well, this is my approach, or this only works for some people. And I won people.
Yes.
Now I'm not teaching a first principle. Now I'm not teaching a universal law. I'm teaching a subjective thing, and you should know that. And so please be careful with your experiments. And like, to me, this is top tier life coaching. This is how all life coaches should be doing it. But as far as I know, I'm one of the few who does.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I guess the thing is when they are teaching something, they're not saying that though.
I know.
They're making their thing that worked for them sound like a universal law.
I know. It's very confusing.
This is my problem.
And most of the time, they don't even know the universal laws to teach anyway.
No,
but if
that's
they did,
why I get mad.
But if they do know them, they still end up confusing people because they don't distinguish between a universal law that works for everyone and a subjective experience that works for some.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty major.
They all make it sound like this is a universal law that works for all.
I know.
They don't even know what the universal law behind what they're saying is.
I know.
So this is why I get aggravated. So, okay. So for the people out there that have coaches or are working with a coach and they're feeling frustrated or they're not, or they're unsure, how can we tell quickly, right? Like when it's not working or that they need a better coach so they're not investing a lot of money in someone to turn around and say, I spent $10,000 on this person who did nothing.
I can try and teach you some tricks, but the truth is most people can't detect it quickly.
Okay.
Because detection is a skill. We all have a radar for who we should trust and who we should listen to and whose advice we should take.
Mm-hmm.
And most people's radar is rusty, like broken. It's miscalibrated and they're out of practice. And so they have to fix their radar before they can even tell who's a good teacher.
Fair enough.
And so if most people out there are terrible at telling who's a good teacher, it doesn't matter how many tricks I give you. You're not going to magically become good at it overnight.
Fair play.
So the biggest way to discover if a teacher is good or not is by the amount of questions they ask. If you go watch some YouTube video or some YouTube guru and all they're doing is proclaiming statements, they're a shit teacher.
Yeah.
And I know this because I was one. When I was younger, I told everyone everything. I was like so self-righteous and so know-it-all and so arrogant and just do this and do that. And I know best. And you should do this. You should do that. And just statement after statement after statement.
Well, no one learns that way.
No.
We have to engage our brain to learn anything.
Right. So it's a terrible teacher. So
Yeah.
if you find someone who just makes tons of statements and has very few questions, what can you automatically know?
Oh, they're not good.
Yeah, they're not a good teacher. Even if your radar is broken, this hack will help you.
Yeah.
Even if
That's
your
a good
radar is rusty, this hack will help you.
Well, I've never met anyone that asked me as many questions as you have ever.
Thank you.
And even to the point of where I'm like, oh, just tell me. There's been times where I'm like, in my head, I'm like, just tell me.
Yeah, and I want to tell you. As a kid, as a youngster, I would have just told you.
I know.
But I learned that that's bad teaching. And if I care about teaching this person, I should not tell them. I should not give them the answer.
Agreed. 100%.
But I should keep asking better questions until they come up with the answer. So a second hack is, even if they are asking lots of questions, measure the quality of their questions. Any guru out there can be like, do you want to make money? Do you want to have a better love life? Oh, they're asking questions. This is a good teacher. No, come on. You measure the quality measure the quality of their questions. If they ask something like, why is it that structure in your life gives you more freedom and being too free-flowing ends up putting you in a cage?
Good question.
This is a good question.
Yes.
I made this question yesterday as a tweet or a post on X. And it kind of went viral a little bit. Like a lot of people shared it and liked it and engaged with it. Why? Because it's a very good question.
Yes.
It's an insightful question, and it will elevate the minds of anyone reading the question. And so if you're interacting with a teacher whose questions elevate minds, if they summon insight from you, if they bring out the best kind of thinking from you, now you know this is a good life coach. This is a good teacher. This is a good place to start. It's not the only way to check, but we've talked for a while, so there's a couple life hacks.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's really helpful. I think giving 2 life hacks is really good because I don't want other people to waste their time, and I'm aware that there's a lot of people who won't resonate with you and want to work with you, and that's fine. But I want to help them so that they understand what they're doing when they hiring or working with other people like this.
Yeah.
And I want to add something too, and you kind of touched on it before, was their story. Like, what is their story? I think to me, it matters. Like, have they shared their life with you? Have they shared their story? What made them a life coach? What happened to them? Like, you went through years of homelessness.
It's the what did life do to you story.
Yeah.
Because if life has not done shit to you, why are you coaching life?
Yeah, exactly.
If you were born with a silver spoon and spoiled and had everything handed to you and you have barely any curveballs, how are you going to teach us to handle curveballs?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's great. You make a good point. That's another good hack, is to find your teacher's story first before you commit to anything. The thing is, a lot of those gurus are really good at spinning a yarn. They're really good at making up stories.
Yeah.
And embellishing things. And they haven't really gone through those things. I believe there was a scandal or controversy about one of these big gurus recently about how his story was not even close to true. And there are other people as well. And I'm not saying they're bad people or you shouldn't listen to them or they don't have good advice. I learned from tons of people, and I have so much respect for tons of experts in tons of spaces. I'm just saying the temptation to embellish our story is really high. So you want to find someone with high integrity who tells you the true story as much as possible and who minimizes embellishments. All marketers are liars, and all marketers are storytellers, and some embellishment is going to be necessary to make a splash in the world at all, ever. It would be super weird if you told a dull story or a boring story with no embellishment. I don't know how that would help anyone, but do your due diligence and make sure the teacher is high integrity enough with their story. And if they are high integrity with their story, then they may be a good fit for you. They may be a good coach for you.
You are 100% right. However, in my mind, I'm thinking these smaller coaches, the ones that are like on X, who really can't spin their yarn that well. I'm like, I know there's going to be a ton of them that are great at it, but I think also knowing, regardless of whether it's true or not, knowing what their story is, and you should be able to discern what's true and what's not. And if you don't, that's cool. Like it's we've all been fooled and scammed at some point. It just
got to fix your radar.
Yeah, but it helps us fix our radar. So
yeah.
Well, okay. So I asked you who you thought coaching was for, and you said anyone basically, right?
Yep.
But how does somebody know when it's time for that, right?
Sure.
So like I know that we all could be reparented, but how do I know when?
So it's a great question. And it's time for it when you are frustrated with everything else.
Okay.
Like, everyone's gonna come to earth and go through life and have their struggles and troubles. And so they shouldn't run out and get a coach on day one. It's weird. Why would you do that? But on their journey, everyone's going to come to a point where they've had it up to here. They've had enough.
Yep.
And so that's a good point to go seek out a coach. Like, I myself don't have what's necessary to create my dreams or make this happen or end these struggles or end these challenges. This is the perfect time to get outside help from someone else who's good at this, from a teacher or a coach who's great at handling life's curveballs and is going to help me deal with my curveballs.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Right. And if you're not there yet, you're probably not ready for one. Because if you just go seek out a coach because your friend told you to, or it's something to do or whatever, you're not invested, you're not committed, you're not ready. a relationship with a life coach is a very like precious thing. And ideally, you're going to be guided to it by your own emotions and your own heart and your own soul in your own time. And I would never want anyone to do it otherwise.
Yeah. All right. Fair play. So I have heard about people falling in love with their therapists because they commit and they pour so much of themselves out and share with their therapist. Has that happened to you where your client fell in love with you?
Yeah, all the time. Like when people put you on a pedestal, that's not really love, but it might as well be. Like it looks like it. Like they're fiending after you like some kind of addiction. So that's going to happen. You have to be ready to deal with the pedestal people.
Right.
And then there's also like a more real, a more deeper love where like a child loves a parent, or a man loves a woman, or a bro loves a bro. Like, of course, it's going to be one of the most intense, passionate relationships ever because it's almost like a familial bond of some kind.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like teacher-student fetishes or whatever are never going to go away. It's been around since forever, centuries or something. Someone going to magically make those go away? This is part of nature. It's part of it. It's in people's DNA.
Right.
You just have to have the integrity to navigate it. So if you 180 someone's life and turn their entire life around, you think they're going to be like, oh, here's $5, thanks so much, and go off on their own way? Or you think they're going to love you for life?
They're going to love you for life.
Of course.
We have a testimonial where someone said they've never fallen in love with a couple before.
There you go.
And they love us.
Yeah, there you go. They literally said, I'm falling in love with a couple, because we were both coaching.
Yeah, we were both coaching her at the time.
So this is a super controversial topic. We could do a whole podcast on this, but people are weird about it. Like it's just part of the job. Like of course it's going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with having a relationship with somebody, with a client. Do you know how many professions where the service provider ends up like marrying a client?
Yeah.
It's not just life coaching.
No, I know.
It happens with cheerleaders, strippers, doctors, lawyers. Like, oh, I met them in the courtroom, and once they were out of jail, it's whatever. Like, this is not uncommon. So if you provide someone a lot of value, that's often a good foundation for a relationship. And there's a lot of successful couples out there who have done that. So I don't get what the big deal is. I think it's only bad if you take advantage of someone, or you don't have high integrity and you're not able to separate crushes from like actual healthy relationships.
Right.
Or if you're gonna take advantage of the pedestal people and just get like casual sex from them or string them along, like if you do any of these things, super unhealthy, definitely bad. But just like having a relationship with somebody you provided value to in a business, this happens all the time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, some people might think that happened to us, but I fell in love with you before I ever uttered one word of coaching or help in any way.
Well, either way, you should let them think it. Like, it's almost better if it was the other way, because then you could show people a new way, and you could show them that you can have a healthy, wonderful, amazing power couple that started from a mentor-mentee relationship. And then maybe they would be less taboo and less crazy, and people would shut the fuck up about it. Like,
well, I was going to say, it's actually what happened up for you, right? Like, because for me, I fell in love before.
Right.
And then we worked together, and the whole time, because I thought you would never want me, I was more open and honest with you than I had ever been with anyone. And that is what made you fall in love with me.
Yeah. And we have a whole episode on the trajectory of relationships, getting closer or further or closer or further.
Yes.
You can see relationships go like this, and it's super easy to control. People think it's like, oh no, we're separating, I don't know how this happened. Like, no, I can tell you exactly how it happened, and I can tell you how to fix it, but you won't like it. You won't like the check boxes. You won't like that you have to change. You won't like that you have to admit things, but it's totally manageable. Like, coaching relationships is so easy, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's super easy. And people get all bent out of shape and crazy about them, but they shouldn't. Relationships are part of life, part of nature, part of humanity. They'll be there forever. You got to stop putting all these crazy rules on them. You just got to like learn to handle them better with higher integrity. That's all there is to it. And the reason they fall apart is because people don't understand how to control them, or they don't have the integrity to stand up for them.
Well, I think that's incredible. I think you are amazing. You are super helpful. You're so good.
Thank you.
I think you're wonderful and amazing, and you are so full of help and knowledge for everyone. And you have so much great help inside you that you wrote a book called Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. And it is 27 pages of amazing awesomeness. amazing awesomeness that you created to help me, to help other people. And if you go to eyeswideopenfree.com, you will get your free PDF copy of this wonderful, amazing, beautiful book. And you will get a bonus called How to Cure the 7 Deadly Mental Traumas. It's free. It's awesome. Go get it. It's yours. And when you do that, you'll sign up for our newsletter and you'll know all our hot goss 3 times a week. So I just have one final question. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our wonderful and amazing audience?
Yes. Any hero or celebrity or idol or legend that you look up to got a coach. They got it early and they thrived because of it. If you're going to follow in their footsteps, get yours ASAP.
I love that. And it's really true. Every successful person has had a coach. No one did it alone. And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open. After today, you'll know how to choose a life coach, why you need a life coach, and how to get one. And now you can go to this video here called 5 Lies Your Therapist Has Told You About Anxiety to help you see through the bad coaches and to help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.